Well, good morning, everybody, and very especially a good morning for the Siemens delegates here this morning. Fantastic. So to begin this, I would like to ask you to picture yourself, to imagine yourself 30 years from now. How's your life? Are you married? Do you have any kids? Maybe you have a partner. Where are you living? Now, think about your work life. How engaging and fulfilling has it been in those 30 years from now? Now, some of you gave me a confused look, and I get it. As you will see, recent research done by Gallup shows that 87% of the employees worldwide are not engaged by what they're doing. And that would mean that in this room, just the first few rows of you would be those engaged, and the others wouldn't. And yet, we all want to be engaged and fulfilled by what we do. So how we get there? This morning, I'm going to tell you 3 stories about people that I know, 3 stories that I find very inspiring, that can give us some light on this topic. First, let me introduce you to Ramon. Ramon is a firefighter, also a civil engineer, and a very good chief technology officer for a very large food and beverage company in Chile. I met him 25 years ago in a birthday party. We were both coming out of school, quite young at that moment. He was carrying a walkie-talkie. Not any walkie-talkie, but this walkie-talkie. It's actual walkie-talkie. And I asked him, why are you carrying this? And he said, I'm a firefighter. Back then, you may not know this, but back then, cell phones were quite a luxury item. So this walkie-talkie was the only piece of equipment that they could use to reach him in case of an emergency. He was on call that night, so of course, no drinks for him. In case the need arise, he would be called on that walkie-talkie and he would respond. As you see in the picture, he's also with a very special person to him. He's his father. And also his grandfather was a firefighter. So this is a family tradition. It's worth noting that firefighting in Chile is an entirely voluntary, non-remunerated profession. These are very technical, very highly trained people that respond and risk their life for no money whatsoever. And they actually risk their life. More than 40 brave men have given their life responding to emergencies. Think about that for a second. How much would you ask to go and risk your life going into a building on fire? That can give you a bit of perspective of what these fantastic people do. Now, Alfredo. Currently, according to the World Health Organization, roughly 900 million of people in the world live without access to safe, secure water. That is very bad. But even worse than that is the fact that almost 250,000 children below the age of 5 die each year. That means 1 every 2 minutes, just because of diseases born in water, mostly diarrheal associated diseases. So Alfredo and his team went into develop a technology to purify water, and they invented and then patented the plasma water purification system. And it will turn water, very briefly, into plasma. And in that process, it eliminates 100% of viruses and 100% of bacteria born in water. Alfredo has received a few very lucrative offers for his patents. But as it says on the slide, he's into connecting advanced science and technology with the needs of the most vulnerable. And so far, he has passed on at least 2 of those offers, just because those corporations were reluctant to the idea of incorporating the needs of the vulnerable into the business model they were trying to pursue. Now, Ashok. Ashok is a colleague of mine. He works for Siemens in India. Ashok grew up in a very poor village on a family of farming rice with no access to electricity whatsoever. And Ashok trained eventually into becoming an engineer, studying by night, by candlelight. In his long career working for Siemens, Ashok has been caring for education. And for more than 20 years by now, he has been devoting time and energy and part of his income, and also from his fellow workers in the workers' union, to train the underprivileged in Mumbai in computing literacy, realizing that while literacy is going up in India, computing literacy, which is the current literacy that matters, was low. And so far he and his people has trained more than 50,000 young individuals, each year training 3,500 of them, and providing computers to 26 different schools. This is remarkable. And he's also the founder of a foundation, the IKEA Foundation, providing electrical training in a 2-month course to young individuals in Mumbai, where they can learn basic electrical skills. For what? To be able to repair home appliances, like a toaster, a radio, refrigerator, microwave. That way, enabling them to have an income and get a better life. So these 3 stories that I just told you, that are at least are very inspiring to me, have one underlying thing in common. All these remarkable individuals can answer the question, why do I get up in the morning and go to work? And I truly believe it is because they have a very strong sense of purpose. Now the difficult part is, what is purpose? So let's take a look at the dictionary. As you can see, there are 3 options for a definition of purpose. I would like you to focus and give a good look at the 3rd one. Purpose is the feeling of having a definite aim and of being determined to achieve it. And while this is very important at the individual level, it's also very relevant, critically relevant, for organizations of all sizes, small, large, national, international, global, for profit, for benefit, NGOs. And as you will see in this slide, research conducted by Deloitte shows that people working in organizations with a strong sense of purpose are more confident that the organization will grow this year. They're optimistic, and this is quite a fundamental feeling, about the future prospects of that organization, and also optimistic that the organization will be able, in the long term, to outperform the competition. So regardless the kind of organization that you are now part of leading, building, this is relevant for you. Now let's get back to the beginning of the talk when I ask you to think about 30 years from now in your work life. Maybe some of you thought about money, influence, or power. Pope Francis, just visiting Colombia a few weeks ago, says that dignity does not come from power or from money. He says that dignity comes from work. So, connecting that to our reality here, I strongly believe that it's our job to find purpose in what we do and ignite it into others. And more importantly, let me get back one back, to provide opportunities so others can also find purpose in what we do. We are all very fortunate to be here this morning, these couple days, and we need to act accordingly. Thank you very much.